welcome into the last of the EU qualifiers, this last best of three between the two Swedish squads, Alliance versus NiP. NiP, kind of a tough time up against, of course, Monkey Business, and they have to, they have to get back into the game. They have to get back into the groove, and they did that by just saying, "Hey, we're ready." Andre, the admin, said, "Hey, you guys can take a 5-minute break, think about it if you want," but they said, "No, let's get into this series immediately. Let's get into the draft." And, well, they have an interesting one here. They go for the PL, they go for the cuddle. Blitz, what do you think about the NiP draft here so far?
I actually think I like the NiP draft a little bit more. I feel like they are a team that has played against the Broodmother before and are going to know how to play against it again. When they played Alliance the first time around, it seems like they were willing to give it up because they understand they have to give Bulldog something, right? And I think that's something that they prepped for, or at least understand that it's a possibility. Like, the Bulldog Broodmother is incredibly annoying, but I don't think it has the impact that you want to see, for example, some of the other heroes that he plays. But that Coddle Blast just does so much.
Illuminate, but a big LSA coming out onto 3. They might get Aki with the first blood. They will. 4 or 5 heroes up top here in this top rune spot for NiP. And first blood will go the way of their squad, with Steel Kid grabbing the kill. Who got the bounty rune? Let's see. Clinks grabbed it for Loda, I think, at the bottom rune spot, and then Brood got it top. So they did get both bounty runes. They don't get that bounty on the side of the Alchemist, but he was involved in that kill. He's actually going to bring his salve out, so... Alright, he's not going to have a quick battle. That's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, I think it's okay. The bounty rune obviously is one of the biggest things that you could possibly get, especially the first minute one. And that does kind of change the lane a lot because the Alchemist really, really heavily relies on having the first bounty rune. And this is going to kind of just like cut off his tempo, because what ends up happening when you get the first bounty rune of the game is you just pretty much can afford to miss the first like 5 or 6 CS against Queen of Pain and it doesn't matter. Then you hit like level 2 or 3, get some levels of your Acid Cloud and it's fine. So I actually think it's okay for Alliance to have given up that first blood in exchange for the bounty rune.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, this is going to delay whatever item he's going to be going for by 2 or 3 minutes, it feels like. Bottom lane, a defensive trial lane coming out with Ake, Minuts, as well as Clinks, Loda getting free farm. Top lane, looks like they were trying to go on Bulldog. They have a Sentry Ward in lane. There's one as well for the Radiant squad, just to make sure Bulldog knows that if they place the Sentry down towards that side camp. But, I mean, he'll stay safe for now. They don't really have that much damage between these two heroes. Might get chased down. But Limp is having a tough time. This is exactly what you talked about. He's got 3 last hits. The Quap is a lane dominator and will continue to do so. And down bottom, they'll continue to get free farm. So Alliance starting out pretty strong already.
Yeah, Limp's already out of regen. When it comes to CS, he's a full 5 behind now. Net worth wise, he should be kind of okay. For me, it just kind of matters what the carries can accomplish, though.
Yeah.
Like, Alchemist will catch up. It's just the nature of the hero. The bounty rune thing is really unfortunate, but the actual hero should do fine overall. And we're seeing the dual lanes come out again from NiP, and this Coddle Blast is going to hit. I actually think Minuts is probably going to die.
Ready. Oh, he hits it onto the Coddle lady. One more right click from Yoda fan, but it's actually going to be Steel Kid that'll grab it with the long range of the Keep of the Light. The K comes out as well, so he will have to salve out, but an extra little bit of gold coming out from the Keep of the Light. He could actually stack up some jungle camps, eliminate, blast them down as well, or give them to the, which we see very commonly, give them to the Alchemist, which is a definite possibility. Interesting to note that they're not, we see sometimes teams will go and do a defensive tri lane against a Broodmother to try to shut Bulldog down, but in this instance, they're going to let him get the experience. He's level 3 already, almost level 4, has 7 last hits, and he's already, I mean, they do have the Liquid Fire for the Jakiro cleaning up these Broodlings, but Bulldog's going to get everything he wants out of this lane, essentially.
Yeah, he should do just fine, and this is something that you expect when you're running dual lanes. As long as Arrow's getting a decent amount, though, it shouldn't matter too much. And they've got plenty of different heroes that can deal with the Broodmother in the Alchemist and the Keeper of the Light, the Tusk and the Jakiro, pretty much all of their heroes. Like, the Phantom Lancer isn't ideal, but even then, the Brood can't really kill you, so it's probably fine. This is just something that you kind of expect. Like, again, I think that NiP have sort of planned for the Brood, so... I mean, the biggest thing that they didn't plan for was losing the bounty rune.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. They were too caught up in the skirmish, and I'm sure Ake was, again, being the hard 6-position support that he is, I'm sure he was fine with it. Maybe not in this particular game, but Limp does have his bottle now, so he'll be able to farm up a little bit faster. He'll be able to maybe secure some more bounty runes. Obviously, it's very difficult against a Queen of Pain to secure some runes in certain instances, but he will be able to farm a little bit more effectively now.
He's actually ahead in net worth, Limp. He got a really fortuitous regen rune at top, and then the Grievel's Greed is actually helping him a lot, like when it comes to catching back up. And he's gonna go for this top rune, and he's doing pretty much okay.
He wants that bounty so bad, I bet. I mean, I'm sure you're fine with any other rune, but he gets the bounty. That's nice. Top lane, Doppelganger goes. Admiral Bulldog is kind of solo laning now against the Broodmother for a little bit, as they're doing some stacks like I talked about. Seal Kid's going to take it with the Illuminate, maybe going to go for that fast Aghanim Scepter. Hanskin has rotated back in. He keeps dual breathing. He will miss the majority of the Broodlings, and that actually will provide a lot of gold for Hanskin if he can get that dual breath off, but not so much yet. There's a rotation from Minuts mid. They're going to go in LSA. There's the double damage from S4, and NiP is in major trouble. He's got the unstable concoction. He's going to pop it in S4. It'll stun him, but they still get the kill nonetheless. Minuts is low, but there's no way they can find a kill. Maybe the ice shards that have to be full range won't find it instead. And now Jonas and Fed taking damage.
I think Jonas is dead.
S4 is just going to blink it. He doesn't even need to. He just needs to hit him one more time. There's the snowball. He's got to bring him back through towards the mid lane. Keeping the light blast will miss, and there's going to be the Screamer to secure the double kill coming out from S4. And meanwhile, they'll lose yet another hero in the process. The Chikiro died top lane as the Broodmother going to work. It's turning into a disaster for NiP. Triple kill for S4 as Seal Kid rotates in. They're going to go for a stun on Bulldog. Maybe they can get something out of this. Do they have the detection? The Doppelganger will go. NiP does not have acid spray. They do get the Spirit Lance off. They had the dust at the ready, and they'll provide at least one kill going back in the way of NiP.
Still, overall, this has to be incredibly disappointing for NiP. Like, if you hadn't given up that triple kill to S4 mid, things are probably perfectly fine. But as a result of this changes so much of the momentum in the game. That was just misplay after misplay by NiP. Like, they came in, it's a double damage Queen of Pain.
Yeah.
She's naturally just going to deal about 140. None of your heroes can survive against that. Like, Seal Kid and Jonas and Fan should have been a little bit more aware of that. Like, giving up your Alchemist isn't that big of a deal. Yeah, you know what is a big deal? Giving up a triple kill.
Yeah, they just gave up a casual triple kill essentially to S4. Doppelganger away, they will get the last hit to error on that kill them of Minuts, and S4 is going to maybe try to go to work on Hanskin. There's the ice path. Hanskin's so low, he'll try to salve up, and he will stay alive with the salve. The tick, not enough damage coming out with the right click. Ake now backing away. Here comes NiP. Looking to throw up that unstable concoction. We'll drop the acid spray first. There's the tombstone on the deck. They're going to right click it down and force it out of the fight. They'll take it down, get some extra gold going their way. Ake hightailing it out of there, and it looks like they won't be able to get the kill, but no, they're going to jump in, snowball, the right click, and the ice shards will be enough. S4 will stay alive. A couple of quick kills, and now with the NiP fighting, they're staying in the fray, but Bulldog continues to farm top, and Clinks has not been touched bottom. Loda getting absolute free farm.
I think that's okay though, just because you needed to take back some control in the lanes, and the supports from Alliance are actually incredibly underfarmed right now, which is pretty unfortunate for them, and they need leveled supports. Like, an Undying kind of drops off if you're unable to get any sort of levels on him, and he really hasn't been able to so far. This top lane, NiP just has to get his ultimate off, and he should be able to kind of hold Bulldog. Like, there's like 20 spiderlings.
Oh my god, look how much damage they're doing. He'll snowball them. He had acid spray right now. Oh my lord, he just spawns spiderlings and kills him, and now NiP's in trouble. He'll pop the chemical rage. There's gonna be the liquid fire, the dual breath. This will be a lot of gold if he can get it. Ake trying to run after, wants to drop the tombstone, might have to settle for that Jakiro. Instead, S4 suddenly shows up out of nowhere. He's got the sonic wave, doesn't even need it. Spawn spiderlings doing work. Good stun, but NiP a little too close for comfort. S4 will clean up a couple of these creeps, and they seem to be happy with what they've gotten. Ake is low, and NiP, he's hungry, but he won't be able to find that kill. They're looking to go back on NiP. NiP will not have the chemical rage in just a moment. The spawn spiderlings, the broodlings going to work. They're going to try to trap him in. As for there's no TP rotations from NiP. The stun getting charged up. He might even just use it on himself. We'll finally get it onto S4. There's the spawn spiderlings. And even Olina shows up. And all the while, NiP are just not there. They're not ready. Seal Kid heading home. You can see in the mid lane, Era's working on that tower. They just leave him out to dry. There's like 4 heroes under the tower. And now they're even going to maybe take this tier 1 in the top lane.
Yeah, that was just a lot of misplays after misplays by NiP. Jonas and Fan just getting hit by 30 spiders at once and going down. That's just definitely an avoidable situation, and I feel like that's been happening to him all game. And Loda here at this bottom lane, if they could get this kill.
Ice Path will just barely connect. They do get the dual breath. They have Snowball at the ready. They'll use it as well. And here comes Era. That Spirit Lance wants it. Loda might get out alive here, and they don't have it. They drop the sentry. They have it. He just runs out of range. They have to expend another dust to get the kill. Loda, a couple more right clicks and he should fall. They're going to give it to Era, it looks like. They do wait a little bit to make sure he goes down. This is going to give some extra room for Alliance, but a kill's a kill nonetheless. And it's a big kill at that.
Yeah, the 3 top net worths in the game, though, are all Alliance players, and that's something you don't want to see. Bulldog playing the Brute has just had so much free space this game, and a lot of it just comes down to these individual errors of giving him solo kills. Like the one that Jonas and Fan just kind of walks up and allows him to get killed. And just when he solo killed Hanskin too, Like, you have to expect the Queen of Pain rotations at some point.
Yeah.
And it just felt like they didn't. Limp is going to go for that Medallion into Solar Crest build instead of the Radiance. So I think NiP, instead of going for that mass late game where you've got an Alk that can give a bunch of Ag Scepters up, I think you're just going to go play for the mid game right now.
Yeah, I mean, keep your teammates tanky, make the opponents a little bit less tanky, try to grab some kills.
Yeah. There's no Ags upgrades either, though.
Yeah, I mean, do you think really that the Bounty Rune and the way that this game has gone for Limp has changed his thinking? Maybe he thought, let me go Radiance and see what happens, but maybe because he can't get this farm, he's maybe foregoing it for something else?
I think it's that, and I think part of it too is that you've got a lot of physical damage on the side of Alliance. You just need that natural tankiness of the Solar Crest when you've already got a hero that has a Medallion in that Clinks. So you probably need to have some defensive items on the ready. The problem right now for NiP though is that even if he does get really farmed, there's no natural Ags carriers on his team. The Keeper of the Light's pretty good, but the Jakiro one, I know a lot of people like to say, oh, in my games it's fantastic. It's not game changing though. Same with the Tusk Kick.
Yeah.
Like, both of those abilities are incredibly mediocre.
We've talked about that before. That ability is, even with the change, I actually never seen it, so.
It's the victory item.
It's the GG item. Unstable Concoction's gonna go. S4 will blink away. He'll still get hit by it. Blink on cooldown for 10 on the other side of things. The Broodmother in trouble as well. The Ice Path comes out. They miss it on him. And S4 getting chased down by air. Won't find that kill. Back to the top fight. Lotus coming in as well. Sonic Wave turns around. And air gets caught out chasing too far. And Hans getting in trouble as well. And another free kill for the Broodmother. Lip will come in. Does no damage with his Unstable Concoction. And I don't really know what to do. He's going to get caught. The Broodmother's Brewlings, or rather Broodlings, will try to catch him out of position and force a body block, but it won't happen. But, I mean, they're still extraordinarily happy. They stopped air from farming. They killed him. They brought him down. S4 getting yet another kill and getting involved again. There's going to be 2 Orchids up again here within about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, this lead right now from Alliance is pretty absurd, and there's not much that they can do to stop this on the side of NiP. You probably start taking fights, but nobody on your team really has the levels to do it. Killing Loda here would be a start, though.
That was a quick kill, but they can't find any follow-up, though. Minus will make his way out. They do have the Orchid just done for Admiral Bulldog, so he can start fighting even further if he wants to. He can continue to stay top. And, I mean, at this point, there's nobody that's really farmed on NiP. You have the Alchemist, who's starting to struggle and fall behind here. Loda, he's actually not doing that well, especially with that death, but he'll be involved a lot more now. His team can set up ganks. They have the Orchids at the ready, so.
I don't think he's meant to be a true 1 position anyways, so it probably doesn't matter too much. I think at some point you're eventually going to tell Loda like he has to kind of go back to that, but when your Brood's doing this well, he already has an Orchid completed at 12 minutes, there's nobody on NiP that can survive that. So now they have to kind of smoke up, stay together, try to gank him, slow down his momentum a little bit, but then you've got S4 that you have to worry about, who's eventually getting a Orchid of his own. And I mean, I thought that NiP would be able to deal with the Brood considering the lineup that they had, but there were just a few too many individual mistakes. So I think if you're NiP from here on out, just try to slow down the Brood's momentum as much as you can. But the Clink's just like 4 shots. Alright.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. You're a Keeper of the Light. You're going to get caught in a position, you're going to die.
He's playing so carefully, too.
He was sitting behind his tier 2 tower, close to his tier 2 tower. And Loda just goes behind the tree line and just kills him. And they'll take the tier 1 tower because of it as well. I don't know. Maybe if they had brought the Keeper of the Light up top and maybe Illuminate blasted the Broodmother, and with like a Spear Lance on top of that, they maybe could have gotten the kill. They could have brought down the Spiderlings, but then you're dueling down bottom. You're not really doing much there. There's a lot of questions as to what NiP could have done, but this draft is clearly not working out for them at this point in time. There's 1,800 gold for Limp, so we'll see what he buys next. Maybe he just picks up the Solar Crest. He has enough for the Talisman of Evasion if he wants to go for it.
They can still go for the 5-man. I think their lineup isn't too bad at that. The problem is eventually you kind of have to like group up, and Alliance's lineup at this phase is probably a lot stronger than yours. Like you've got what I like to call just dead heroes, like ones that don't do anything. Like, look at this bottom lane. The Keeper of the Light just keeps getting sandwiched over and over again, and there's no responses. He dies almost immediately.
Well, they're going to try to get something mid. Minus will take a Spirit Lance. The Sonic Wave will go. Era doesn't have Doppelganger for 15 seconds. Jonas will try to chase S4 down. He's running low on many. Does have a Scream at the ready. There's the Spirit Lance. Blinks away just in time. Another TP rotation. They were baiting him into it. Jonas going to be able to get out for right now. Era, Doppelganger up in 3 seconds. He's going to use the Spirit Lance. The Orchid will go. Snowball, can they get Era in there in time? They can't. And now Jonas is in trouble as well. They'll pick up 2 though. Jonas gets it done with the Ice Shards. A 2-for-2 trade. Unfortunately, Era doesn't get any of that experience or gold. There's going to be the usage of that unstable concoction. There's the Macro Power, Ice Blast. They get it done finally. They get a couple of big kills coming out for NiP, but it just doesn't feel like it's enough at this point, Blitz.
It's okay though. Taking any sort of trades like that, 3 for 2, even if you're losing your carry, is probably kind of favorable for NiP, because it slows down the pace of the game. It keeps S4 in check, and even though he almost has his Orchid, you also force the Brew to come mid, and you did get 3 heroes. Like, you slowed down S4. Unfortunately, Klink's got a few of those kills, and it looks like their entire team is just grabbing Orchids. I've never seen 3 Orchids before on one team. Like, I don't know how common that is.
We saw this yesterday. It was 2 Orchids and a Silence from the Night Stalker that was dominating an Ember Spirit in the game we saw yesterday, which I think was the Peruvian squad versus the other Peruvian squad, Elite Wolves versus Unknown. But yeah, this is some heavy silence that they've got going on. S4 is going to go ahead and run at Era. He'll Doppelganger, but he doesn't actually make it away from the Scream of Pain in time. He'll also take a Dragon Slave to the face. He'll bottle up. He's in a very precarious position, but he needs to be able to farm somewhere. The Alka is going to be in the jungle, and really, those jungle stacks are going to be taken by Broodmother anyways. There's nowhere really to farm effectively on this map currently.
Yeah, you notice that Alliance too, they're playing on their side of the jungle, and that's usually where you want to go if you're a Phantom Lancer and you're behind like this. Like, play on the other side of the jungle. But Loda's pretty content right now with playing a little bit more passively to make sure that he doesn't give up any gold. And all 3 cores from Alliance are still incredibly farmed. Like, an Alchemist is the type of hero that needs to be ahead, and significantly so, to really kind of make full use of his hero, but he just hasn't been able to get that kind of start going.
And Alliance are looking to set up a gank mid. Another important fact is that if Loda's off the map, you don't feel safe moving anywhere, really. I mean, you have to have sentries, you have to commit a lot of detection. There's like 5 or 6 sentries up in the top jungle just to make sure they can try to deal with this Broodmother and even Loda as well. They've spent so much gold on Vision. That's putting them so far behind. These supports are dirt poor. Loda's going to go to work on the tower with the strafe. He'll get Doppelganger, but he actually just is going to Shadow Walk away, Skeleton Walk away, and he'll be fine for now. But a smoke up, there's the Snowball. Loda is maybe going to get caught out here. Do they have the dust? They do. They're not going to use it yet. Unstable Concoction on the backside. Sonic Wave will go. It'll hit on the 2. Seal Kid in trouble. They lose him immediately. They'll lose the Alchemist as well with the Laguna Blade going through and going to work. Now there's the Macro Power on the ground. LSA just trying to clear up some of these creep waves. Admiral Bulldog staying healthy and fit, jumping in. S4 Scream of Pain. Now Jonas-in-Pyjamas comes in, gets the double kill. Jonas-in-Pyjamas making plays all day. Still 3 dead. They've lost air on the backside. No, he's low, but he's not dead yet. The TP away. Can he get out in time? They have no way to stop it. A 2-for-3 trade, that's the best they can get, and they're still probably going to lose this Tier 1 tower, but Jonas-in-Pyjamas, again, play after play, this guy refuses to let his team die in almost any situation.
Yeah, I mean, Jonas just made that fight kind of alright. Unfortunately, Limp got the stun off on himself, and then he wasn't really able to have impact after that because they just bursted him down. Like, if he is able to get the stun off on Loda or any other hero, then maybe they can get something out of that, and he's looking for it right now as Ake seems to be his target.
He's going to go in. He didn't actually get the Ice Shards, but he should get the kill with the Walrus Punch, and he will find it. But still, S4, does he have the Orchid? No, not quite there yet, but look at that. The damage coming through the last right click of the Scream of Pain will grab the kill. The Unstable Concoction flying all the way through the air, but it does nothing. S4 has used his blinks very well this game, and Loda with the Medallion of Courage able to take down that Tusk. And he's actually the top in the net worth, and it feels like Jonas does this a lot, Blitz. Like, he seems to carry his team more often than not when they're in these dire straits.
Yeah, they're quite far behind right now, and I think he understands that this is just the position that he's in, that he has to play really aggressively to try to pick heroes off. And I think it's the right idea, because eventually Limp can catch up and get farmed. I don't want anybody to look at this game and say it's completely over. Like, the scoreline isn't great, and that's something that you should kind of ignore, but when it comes to the difference in net worth, it's still less than 10k, and that's considering they have the 2 lowest farm supports in the game right now. Like, that's something that you should always look at. The Phantom Lancer still has a reasonable amount of farm. The Alchemist is kind of alright. It looks like he's going to go for a BKB of his own. And Jonas can still go for solo pickoffs.
Yeah.
So they're kind of alright. But a lot of this game is going to come down to how much space this Tusk is going to be able to create 1v5 pretty much.
I feel like the Broodmother is a big factor as well. You think about the Alchemist, you think about the PL together in the late game, and especially with a Tusk as well who's very farmed. And you've got a good shot, but this Broodmother is going to be creating space. You could already see top lane, she's putting some Broodlings close to the tower. You notice if they're sitting in the tree line, they don't spot him out. The Sigil is nearby. I don't know if they saw it. They're going to be in their own jungle for now. Lotus mid, they ping him out. He's going to walk right through next to Hanskin. There's a Sentry Ward. He's got him on his stash, and there's one right near him as well. PL will take the bottom tier 1 tower while this is all happening. Can they get Loda? He's going to walk through another Sentry Ward, giving them some vision, so they know exactly where he is. They know where he's headed. And all the meanwhile, Broodmother is just going to take a free tier 2 tower in the top lane.
Jonas is going to bait this out mid, and I don't think Loda's going to go for it. Like, there's no reason for him to at this point. Like, you're getting a free tier 2 tower at top, so I think you can reasonably assume if you're in Alliance that there's a lot of heroes behind mid. If nobody goes to defend that top tower, then I think it's just a process of elimination.
And it feels like NiP are getting antsy themselves. It looks like they wanted to go in with the snowball, but Ake and Minus were there at the ready to help out Loda if need be. And we've got a bit of a pause. 30 seconds for Hanskin. Get their heads back into the game, do whatever. I don't know. Some apparently VoIP issues. Mumble, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think there's such a thing as a tactical pause in Dota.
No.
Like, I don't know if a lot of teams use that, like, not to my knowledge anyways, because I can't really see it helping. It slows down your momentum too.
You want to be able to... I mean, Dota's a ever-evolving game. You kind of just have to play it as it goes, I guess.
Yeah, the only time a pause really screws anything up is when two teams are in the middle of a team fight, and then a pause happens, and you're just like...
That's the true puppy pause. That's the true tactical pause. Or when a team fight is about to break out.
Yeah, because you can't expect teams not to discuss what's happening in that fight.
Yeah.
Like, both teams are going to do it.
I'm going to go here, I'm going to blink in, I'm going to throw my stun.
And both teams are going to do it, too. That's the thing, is that no team really has the advantage, except maybe the smoked-in team. The ones that are actually ganking. That might actually...
I mean, they're probably not making calls in this situation. Like, all right, I'm going to go farm. That's pretty much the call that they're making.
Yep.
Or something like that. Maybe they decide to smoke after this, but regardless of the reasons, NiP have to find something here in these next couple of minutes. They could easily take a team fight. What's really interesting to me is that Ake has not been that big of a force. But even without him, they've done just fine in making sure that they're still in the lead in this game. I mean, Ake really hasn't gotten his tombstone down, and even if he has, the PL will kill it quickly with his illusions because, I mean, I guess that's just a good counter to tombstone, so...
That can't be a thing in the game right now. Like, I hope they remove that the tombstone takes illusion damage as full hero damage.
Yeah,
like that has to be
an oversight. Yeah, that's definitely a bug. Yeah. We were talking about that yesterday. I think it was me and Purge talking about it.
Oh, we were definitely the ones casting that.
Okay. How could I forget?
It was Bulldog playing it that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was getting it like 3-shot by, I think, Era. I think it was Era. He was like an offlane undying with a Lena or something like that.
No.
He just kept...
Dude, I don't even know what's going on. I'm jet lagged. We're here in Sweden. It's like...
How are you still jet lagged?
That's just an excuse. I'm just making excuses for myself.
Right on.
You've caught me.
Go Roshan. This is what you should do right now. This is the safest possible option for Alliance.
This is going to go down very quickly. I mean, the Illuminate is going to come through. That was perfectly timed, but I don't know what NiP could do.
If he does another one of those, he could actually stop this by himself.
I think he's afraid that maybe there's going to be somebody nearby. They've thrown a lot of raiding sentries. There used to be a couple of dire sentries here. Oh, that sentry is just in range of that observer too, if they wanted to kill it. But they're more focused on Roche right now, and I think NiP are going to use this time to just farm up and get some extra gold going their way. They can't really fight this yet.
I think if you threw in one more Cuddle Blast, they could have maybe done it. But it goes down so quickly anyways that it doesn't even matter. It's not worth talking about. This Phantom Lancer just needs as much time as he can to farm. He does have a Diffusal Blade, so if any of his teammates get Orchided, he can still pop in and do a lot.
And that Diffusal Blade, they did change the cooldown to 0, so you can use it however you'd like, but only it's, got a set amount of charges. He'll have to buy the second recipe later on down the road if he wants to. So, 18-14, again, the kill score is not that... It's not indicative of how the game is going because, again, a lot of it is on the Broodmother, a lot of it is on maybe just some misplays in mid where S4 gets the triple kill. BKB is purchased up for the Alchemist, making him, I guess, beefier, but what does that really bring him? It, I guess, allows him to stay alive a little bit longer in these fights, but...
I think he's really tanky. With Solar Crest plus BKB, there's not a lot of heroes that are going to want to straight up fight him. Just the problem right now is that how do you fight a Klinx that has that much farm? And Jonas
barely gets away as he Shadow Blades out. They get the Orchid on him, but...
They don't have detection.
Yeah, he's fine. They do buy some sentries for Ake immediately after that. He says, alright, my bad. I understand now. Era is jungling, or rather ancient farming here. You know, Bulldog is on the high ground. He's going to try to take this. He's even going to go for the kill. There's the Orchid as well. He's going to pop the drum charge. He doesn't have that Diffusal Blade just yet, and they get the kill. No. How close was he? Sonic Wave was coming through. Queen of Pain will grab the kill on Hanskin. Now will he be able to get this kill? Blinks through, and now Loda's coming in. The blast doesn't connect on S4. He'll stay alive. BKB has to be popped for a limp, and he will actually TP home. They will lose 2 heroes and they won't get anything out of it despite coming so close to killing S4, and that would have been a huge kill. And the tower gets denied on top of it all. They just can't catch a break for NiP.
You had to use the BKB charge too. That might have been the biggest thing. Yeah. I think if you get the Aegis off on the Queen of Pain, that's probably not a terrible trade because then you get rid of the high ground mechanic from Alliance. But as it stands, Alliance is just going to heal up S4. He's just going to come back into the mid lane. And they probably play really aggressively now into this mid lane because they know they've burned a 10-second BKB charge, and the cooldown on it is so long, like 70. Wait, how long is it? 75 seconds? Yeah. You're not gonna have that available for quite some time.
So now they get some extra room to work with. They'll strafe up on the tower. Loda will go to work, take that down in quick succession, and Bulldog will also take a couple of broodlings for the road. He also bought a BKB, so at this point in time, Alliance are looking almost unstoppable in what they can accomplish here, especially after the last 2 kills they got, after the Aegis, after the Roche. They'll take down another tier 2 tower, which will leave all of their outer towers for NiP down and out. And Klinx will finish up his BKB here in just about 1,400 gold on top of that.
I think this is just a really good build in general. You go Orchid and then you go straight for the BKB. Orchid is just a purely offensive item, so to be able to grab something incredibly defensive like the BKB, it allows you to just continue to snowball more and more. And Loda, he's just gonna 2-shot Seal Kid almost. If they can get a kill on Loda, or at least force him to burn, he doesn't have the BKB on him, but
everybody from Alliance is coming in. There's the Orchid. The Diffusal is still not ready. A Soul Burn might be enough. Not yet. The Broodlings chasing after. Good stunts coming through the blast. They won't take down anybody yet. They will get Era in the meantime. Loda, he's burning down to the liquid fire, but it's just not enough. Limp has to pop the BKB, but so will the Broodmother. Try to go to work. He does pop the Insatiable Hunger, but it's not that much damage, not much life steal. There's going to be another usage of that Illuminate. It's just not enough. They even use the Aegis in the base of S4. They lose their 2 main cores. S4 will get out. The Ice Path was put down beautifully, but he was able to blink out in time. An Illuminate coming through. They can't push high ground. They'd have to heal up. It's going to be. They have to be careful. Bulldog will be able to heal back up with the Insatiable Hunger to full. They're going to use the Ice Blast as well, or rather Ice Path. They'll use the Glyph. They'll try to force them back. They have the Keeper of the Light. Hanskin's doing a good job as well.
Oh, Jonas is doing it!
Walrus Punch and the Yard Shards will get the kill. The Orchid comes out, but it's too late. Alright,
Jonas, you just helped the game for your team. Good stuff.
This Shadow Blade has been a huge pickup.
Yeah, that was amazing. Really well played by him.
Oh,
you might even get the snowball.
Ice Path. They can find it. The snowball will come out. They'll get a second kill. Yes, it's on a support, but they will find something.
No, that's amazing that Jonas gets 2 kills out of that. That was really well played by NiP. They don't lose racks. They don't even lose the tower. Like what? What did they lose there? That's fantastic.
They lost a couple of their cores.
Yeah, whatever, man.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
You're so far behind anyways.
You know that's going to happen eventually. They have really good wave clear. If they can keep Seal Kid and if they can keep Hanskin alive, they can maybe clear out the waves. They can stop the Broodling push. They can stop maybe Loda from just going to work on the tower.
You have the best high ground carry too. Or not the best high ground carry, but you have the best late game carry. Like, I prefer to have a Phantom Lancer over a Klinx or a Queen of Pain.
But he's so far behind.
Yeah.
It's so hard for him to find any. It's not that he's just far behind too, it's the fact that he just can't find farm anywhere safely at all.
With the Diffusal Blade, I think it gets a lot easier. Like if Loda, or not Loda, but if this Queen of Pain, actually she has BKB now. They're all about to get BKBs. At that point, things get hard. It's for the Orchid.
Yeah. That could be useful. Interesting that he went for that. I'm surprised. I
don't know how useful it is when you've got Alliance who has 3 BKBs on the other side. Yeah. It's going to be used mainly for the Dispel, but you have Diffusal already. I guess it's one of those items where you're hoping Alliance maybe get a little bit too overeager.
And that kind of means that I think Jonas is going to have to sit near his carries, and it feels like the PL has been farming on his own for the majority of the game. Like, Jonas hasn't been nearby. He's been either finding solo pickoffs or farming himself. Maybe he'll start sticking near the PL a little bit more as we progress through the game. But either way, the Clinks does pick up his BKB. It's flying out to him right now, and they're getting ready to either just take control of the mid lane, maybe wait for that next Roche. Alk will pick up a Blink Dagger, so he's got some extra mobility. He doesn't do that much right-click damage, but he's got some utility. He's got the Acid Spray, and he can get the items up in a little while. But Loda's he's just gonna stalk right behind him. He's gonna go ahead and use the strafe. Pop up the medallion, Orchid will go, but the Chemical Rage gets off beforehand, so he won't be able to get the kill. And he's too close to the tier 3 tower for them to fight.
I think he was just trying to force the BKB out of Limp. But Limp wisely decides not to use it, understands that he can't afford to just keep using it as empty charges. He's already down to 8 seconds. The good news for NiP, I guess, is you can hold the high ground as long as you just keep bursting on the creep wave, but you have to kind of all be prepared for this. Like, Limp has to be there. Acid Cloud is pretty pivotal for this.
He's rotated back. It is on cooldown for 14 seconds. Yules has been picked up for the Jakiro, so they've got that. They've got a setup for the stun. They still do have Jonas farming up in that top lane. Yules Scepter will go, Macro Fire, Ice Path, S4 will pop the BKB. You gotta try to maybe bait this out, maybe kite as much as they can. The tier 3 tower will fall, there's no glyph. The BKB is about to go down though for S4 as well as for Loda. They can't do enough damage to the rest. The Ice Shards will not be able to catch. They lose the tier 3 tower, they force out a couple of BKB charges. In the meantime, Jonas does TP back. And that's not that bad, all things considered for NiP.
No, I think that's great. You forced 2 BKB charges, and you only lost your tower that you're going to lose anyways. They didn't have glyph. I think that's fine, honestly. You use 1 Yules and you get a 10-second BKB out of a Queen of Pain and a Clinks. Fantastic. For NiP right now, it sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not. Any sort of trade that you can potentially get that doesn't just immediately lose you the game is fine. Like, even trading 3 for 2, which is pretty inefficient for you, slows down the pace of the game, and it makes Alliance kind of think twice about going high ground, is great for them. And they're going to smoke up. If they kill Loda here, that would be huge. Like, they know he doesn't have a BKB. Jonas is being sent first because he's got the smoke and the Lothars on him.
Oh, they're going to go the wrong way. They're going to head to the top lane. They just missed him. He walked below him into the river and towards that mid lane. They couldn't find him. So.
That would have been so huge if they could have killed Loda there. That would have slowed down the timing of the push even longer.
And it feels like Alliance have stopped farming for a bit, and they've more focused on hero carrying. And I guess that makes sense because they have a Clinks, and he doesn't function that well as a farming hero. But for S4 even as well, he's not farmed as fast as maybe he could have, and they are giving them a way back into this game. S4 gonna get caught out. He's got his BKB ready, but he can't get it off the macro power, and he's done so. Down for 65 seconds, they'll dust. They want to make sure there's nobody behind. Jonas might get caught out here. There's going to be the Orchid coming through. He'll dispel himself using that Lotus Orb. They use the Blinding Light. They need to get out. They'll try to TP, and looks like they will make it away. The Tombstone will get dropped. LSA Jonas will get taken down.
That's a gem, too.
The gem is on the deck, and I think they just got that. I think S4 was the one carrying it.
That is so unfortunate for them. If Jonas actually made a really neat play there by forcing himself into his own trees, but at the last possible second, Minots gets the stun. You do lose the Queen of Pain, but that's probably still kind of worthwhile for Alliance because that gem was what allowed them to look for the pickoffs in the first place.
Was that their gem? I'm curious.
It wasn't actually.
Yeah, so
it was S4's, I think.
So they could still buy a gem for themselves if they need to, and I think at some point you're kind of gonna have to, but they just don't have the money for it yet. Roshan is up, by the way, and it looks like NiP are going to make their way over there, but Alliance is also sort of edging themselves in that position too, and it's not going to be easy. Era might get caught out. He's so far down in this bottom lane. He has the Diffusal Blade to purge off any Orchid charge, but might just even need to TP out right now. And I think he will. Oh, Loda's going to find him.
This is going to be really unfortunate because Minots is going to come in too.
There's the Orchid. They have the LSA. He doppelgangers. He might still be able to make it out. The Tombstone's going to go. There's the Laguna Blade. He's just not fast enough. He'll pop the jump charge with the blink forward from S4. And Era farms down to the bottom lane dangerously, but you have to make those type of plays. You have to go and find farm somewhere. It ends up him dying though, and this is going to also mean Alliance will grab another Roshan in ages.
Yeah, they're going to head straight for it. I think NiP's move is just to push in the lanes as far as you can to make sure that they don't immediately just end the game right after it. You're going to send the Toss Sigil in, but this has the unfortunate side effect of also slowing down the Roche. And they're even going to get the last hit on it, and Jonas is just trying to annoy them, but Loda's right here. He's behind him, and
they have no detection.
Careful, Jonas.
Jonas is probably going to get caught here. S4 can blink up. Throw up the they've used the ice shards. Jonas will actually Shadow Blade out, and he'll make it away. And it will be the Rosh going the way of Alliance, as suggested. He also is going to be grabbing the Aegis, and that's S4, I should say. They're going to TP back home now, waiting for the eventual push that will be coming from Alliance towards that mid lane, and they're going to want to finish this Rax off. But I don't know if one Rax is really that big of a deal.
No, it's not. It's problematic because it makes it harder for you to farm, and it gives Alliance tempo control. But I mean, Alliance, I don't want to sound like I'm biased at all. Like, of course they're super far ahead, but NiP can still do this as long as they have 1 or 2 clean fights. But Alliance are in a really dominant position. Like, this game would take Alliance messing up for NiP to win, more than NiP doing something spectacular.
And we've seen this type of play from Alliance so often, and they very rarely lose when they execute it properly. S4 is going to pop the BKB, still has the Aegis going on Hanskin. Limp as well pops the Chemical Rage, and now they're going to work on the Rex. They won't dive too deep. There's going to be the Orchid coming through Sonic Wave. Lots of damage, hits on 3 or 4. LSA, Ake now in trouble. And he's going to get healed up with the Soul Rip. They're going to use the Dual Breath as well. Bulldog just going to work on the Rex, and we'll find it. Jonas on the backside, finally will pick up Minus, but instead, he's going to get caught out. Big Ice Cap, and here comes Zera. They'll defuse off Loda. Loda in trouble. He's gonna go down. He doesn't have the Aegis. Ake now. He's used up in the air. S4. He's got that Aegis, but he's out of mana for now. Hanskin is solo. Ake is gonna get blown up, and Era will get a double kill. That is so much gold for him. He's got 3,000 now in the bank. Yes, they lost the melee racks, but they take down 3 very important heroes on the side of Alliance.
Unfortunately for Alliance, you know, that you had to expend 3 heroes just to take that Rex, and a lot more BKB charges than you would have liked. But the good news for them is that they didn't lose the Broodmother or the Queen of Pain, and those are the heroes that you really don't want to lose if you can help it, because that Brood just continues to scale. Like, now she's the highest net worth in the game with an Assault Cuirass, and that's a Tricore that's incredibly scary.
Now
the Phantom Lancer might
harder.
be, the Phantom Lancer might be better individually, but against all 3 of them when they're this farmed, that becomes a different proposition altogether.
Yeah, it's so much to deal with. I even think Alliance maybe misexecuted in that fight, but they even still got at least 1 melee Rax out of it as well. And again, like I said, when they execute properly, Alliance they're almost never going to lose this type of game.
Yeah, NiP actually I think they made a little bit of a slip up because they had the glyph available but didn't use it. Like, maybe use the glyph and then go for the turnaround.
It's so chaotic in that team fight, though.
Yeah, it's hard, but somebody has to call that. Like,
because there's everything that was happening in that situation.
I agree. Era's finally starting to pick up a lot of farm. He's only 300 net worth, or 3k behind the Queen of Pain, I should say, who is going to complete a Shiva's Guard, which makes sense since you've got the AC already. And Jonas-in-Pyjamas is going to find another pick off by himself.
He needs to get out of here. He boards the LSA. There's the Ice Path coming through. The Guardian Greaves Minus. He stays up safe. There's the Orchid, gets immediately put off with the Lotus Orb, but Jonas-in-Pyjamas will go down. Hanskin is going to TP away, and Jonas goes for a very aggressive play, doesn't find it. Will create some space in their own jungle for Era to farm up as well, but it's still a death that could have been avoided.
That is such a tanky Lina. Like, he has a Shadow Blade and the Lotus Orb. I guess that's not too much bonus damage, but it's a level 16 Tusk. I thought he could have been able to do it.
Did she have that point booster before she was getting ganked? I think she did.
Yeah, she did. She's had that for a while.
Might have saved her life. The Guardian Greaves coming through as well. That heal was ridiculous. Era gonna get Shadow Stricken. He'll back away.
You gotta spam right now. I don't think NiP cares right now. Like, you're only gonna lose a Ranger X. There's nothing really that's coming out of this.
Well, in the meanwhile, though, Admiral Bulldog is chunking down this tier 3 tower. They're gonna jump in with S4. He's gonna look for a fight. Sonic Wave Limp. Now he'll pop his BKB. Hanskin's low. Yules is himself in the air. Steel Kid has to use the Glimmer Cave. They're just getting corralled back into their base. 3 dead now in Alliance. It finally looks like they've broken the back of NiP. They'll take down the tier 3 tower. S4 is dominating. He'll get a 4th kill. That'll force the buyback out on the Alchemist, but this full set of Rex bottom looks like it will fall. Loda going to town. There's the Orchid coming out of the air. He'll have to defuse it off. The Rack's already gone. There's the Snowball. Can they get at least a couple of kills here? That's just the Aegis Minus. Bulldog is going to work. The Insatiable Hunger doing so much for him, and now Jonas is going to fall as well. That's 4 dead and a dieback. 5 dead. You have to expect GG coming out from NiP, and there it is. Alliance, they pick up the Broodmother. They have a dominant laning phase, and it's just an easy win. Well, they did have to work for it a little bit, but in the end, they do take it at 36 minutes into the game.
Yeah, NiP just weren't able to ever establish any sort of tempo. I know I talked about how he could come back, but honestly, Alliance were just so far ahead the entire game that it's, at that point, you kind of have to make it sound okay for them. But that was about as clean of a victory as you can ask for.
There was very few mistakes from them.
Yeah, exactly.